Yeah, Sway is an interesting thing. It's actually been around for a long time. When Stuart asked me to have a look at Sway and some Microsoft stuff a while ago, I went on and I found a Sway that I created about 4 to 5 years ago. So for something that's as clever as what it is, it tends to be sort of ignored. And you can see on this is, I'm going to quickly show you a Sway that I've already got set up, and I'll go through and show you how to set one up as well. This is obviously, I'm a biologist, so I tend to do DNA ones, but I'll do one on mountains as well. But you can see on there, I don't know if you've noticed that now, it's that picture of the DNA was gradually coming towards you. So it's like a website, but it's sort of interactive sort of website as well. If I just refresh it again, you'll see how it works. When you go to the Sway, if you just press the play button, you'll see on there, it'll come on, and that it may have stopped doing it, but it'll actually gradually move around. You can see it's coming towards you a little bit. So straight away, it starts to look a bit more interactive than just a website. You can see it better there, actually moving towards you. So that's just the banner. That's just the top. So it's just like a website banner. I've got my little heading on there, DNA. If I scroll down, and as usual with the Microsoft stuff, I've embedded a PowerPoint in there. It can take a little while for the PowerPoint to load up, but it gets there eventually. It is a bit frustrating though when you do that, but this is a PowerPoint one. This isn't a Google slide. This is PowerPoint. So that's embedded into it, and just like with any sort of slide, you can go through the slideshow. If you want to show it to the students, if you want to put it on the board, or students maybe want to open it up on the phone, they can just maximize it. It does do one or two funny things. It will tend to open up a little bit like that on a new tab, rather than just open up in the main page. But you can look at it as a full-size PowerPoint, and you can run it through, or you just watch it inside the screen here as well. So you've got your PowerPoint that you've embedded into it. Now, obviously with the students, if you're doing, say, a topic, so this could be the DNA topic I'm working on with the students, particularly lockdown, what I want them to do is I want them to go through a slideshow, which I created, which had all the key points in it. So all the information on DNA, you can still see the top bit still moving. So it's quite nice visually. But there's my slideshow. Moving down, I've got a video embedded into it as well, straight from YouTube. So I didn't have to create it. I didn't have to spend any time uploading or anything. It just embeds straight from YouTube. So I've got my slides, video for the students to watch, and then down at the bottom here I've got a Microsoft form for them to complete. So what's really nice about it, obviously I'm teaching that now, for example, I send it out to the students, they can do it, but I've got it there. It's built just like a Google site is, and I can just keep it in my resource bank, and the next time I do DNA I send it out to the students again. And because it's got the Microsoft form in there, everything comes to me behind the scenes, so I can assess it. I can look for the strengths and weaknesses of what they're doing. The Microsoft form clearly can have written text in there as well, so it can be long written answers as well if you want to. Obviously, you have to go and mark those, but because of the fact it is just simply a Microsoft form, if I go into Microsoft Forms, I can then look and go behind the scenes and obviously give students feedback as well. So a nice simple site, nice little bit of background of flowery things on as well. So let's just see how we make it. Well, for this presentation, what I've done is I've got a number of things together. So I've got a Microsoft form. Now, unfortunately, even though my topic's going to be on mountains, I'm just going to use this one on specific heat capacity with a bit of a mountainy type background on fire. The reason I'm doing this, just so you're aware, if you do start using Microsoft Forms, there is a limit to how many you can have. So I have the standard paid for version here. So I'm allowed 200 forms, no more, which was a bit of a problem because I did reach my limit and then it wouldn't let me create any more. It's advised me to delete, and even though I've deleted about 15 or 20, it still will no longer let me create. So just be warned about that. The education version, you get 300 that you can create, but after that, you don't get any more. So there is a limit to them, so just be careful of that. But Microsoft Forms, obviously very, very similar to Google Forms. One of the benefits of Microsoft Forms is, I can't show you on this one, but I can explain it to you. If I go to somewhere where I have my answers to the question, for example, so my ABCD, if I copy my ABCD, as I'm creating the form, if I just put it in the top box, it populates the other question boxes as well. So you don't have to put them in individually, it will populate them all. So it's quite handy that way. But again, just like Google Forms, you can create different question types. So if I want to add a question, it can be a text one, so it can be a written one, it can be a short one, a long one, and so on. There are some limitations on it compared to the Google Forms. It's not quite as functional, particularly giving the feedback. So for example, if I do this sort of question, which is a short answer question, I can add feedback to it. But if I then make it into a longer question, like a mini essay one or a 5.1, I can't add the feedback to it. So it's got those sort of limitations a little bit. But as a general form, and as a general thing for collecting information, let me just get rid of that one. Especially the multiple choice, it works really well. So I've got a form created behind the scenes, and I have a little presentation that I spent hours creating, as you can tell, on mountains as well, just to show you how it all goes together. So let's go first of all into the sway itself. And if I click onto sway, there we are. Again, it's a nice format. It's very nice to look at. You can start from a topic, or you can upload something. With this one, we're just going to start a brand new one. Just click onto there. And in this, I can put my title. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put a title, Mountains. I decided to do a completely different one to biology, because I'm tired of doing biology ones. This is the mountains one, but what I can do straight away is, and I like the way it picks this up. If I click onto background, it will of course go away and find me some lovely backgrounds on mountains. So all I have to do is click on there, and it will then, if I find a nice one that I like, I don't want it too big, just in case it does a memory thing with it, but we'll just click on that one, and we'll just add that one to it. So there we are, there's the mountains. Now then, if I want to have a look and see what it looks like, I can just click on the play button, and there we are, there's my mountains. Now this isn't one that's moving around too much. It all depends on the type of format and also the size as to whether it will swish backwards and forwards, but there's the mountains one. If I want to go back to editing again, I just click on my edit button. So what I want to do now is I can add other things here, by the way. I can link to things as well if I want to, put a link in, but you can make this box come up in a number of places. So if I click on the insert, I can then from there add something else. So in this one, maybe I want to add a heading on this one. Highest mountain, and again you can add a background, you can add whatever you want onto it, colors, etc. I'm just going to leave that one as it is for now, and what I'm then going to do is add another one, and this time what I want to do is I want to add a little bit of media to it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a video in first of all. So I'm going to click on video. Now obviously I would have gone and checked the videos out before I'd done it, so it's bringing me a list of videos here. And let's have a look at something that looks like mountains. You can obviously search for them as well if you want to search for them, but we'll put this one in, which looks like a nice magnificent mountain one. I'm going to add that to it as well. Now then, when you look at this, at the minute it's over on this side. If I play and I go down to mountains, you can see it's a small video in the middle. So you do have the option to change that around a little bit, because what you can do is you can change it. If you look at these little buttons here, you can change it to a medium-sized video. So if I go onto it now, there you are, it's a little bit bigger. Or if you want, you can also change it to a big video, which might be slow now. It's doing it slowly now. Wish I hadn't done that one. There we are, to a full-size one. So you can change the size of it, especially that way in a 4K one as well. But often, particularly if you're going to use it on a mobile phone, it's probably best to keep it to the small size. Again, you can add a caption on it. So it might just be an instruction. That's my phone ringing. So watch this video and get ready for the quiz. And again, if you want to have a quick look at what it looks like, click on the play. There we are, little caption at the side of it as well. So let's move on from there. And what you can also do is if you click on, now what I want to do is maybe I want to add some photographs in there. If I've got some photos, and this is something that's really nice because you can add a stack of photos and you can literally just drag and drop the images into there. And when you put them in, it will then mix them all together. So if we have, again, I just got to be careful of not getting something too big on this one. I don't want to bring up mounting clip art. We'll just try this clip art. See if it will. It might. Oh, there we are. Oh, it's still massive ones. Let's put a few of these in. And what it will do is it will match them together as you're doing it. So let me just, in fact, let me get rid of that one. If I drag them all into there, it will actually match and it will stack them all together. This won't stack because there's only one in there, but it will actually stack and it will go through them individually if I put a few into there. Okay, let me just get out to them again. And again, you can change around how you're doing it. On that one, you can group them, you can do different things with them. Obviously, I've only put one in there, but you can keep putting a number in there as well, and it'll move them around. It'll flip one round on top of the other. And I'll show you another one, I think I can afterwards, that looks like that as well. The other thing I want to show you is if I put the media one in and I want to put something in from my PowerPoint, for example, I'm going to use the embed code. And if I go to the embed code and I go to my PowerPoint presentation, and this is where it's a little bit funny with the Microsoft one. If I want to embed this PowerPoint, you'd think you go to share, If you go to the share button, there's actually no way that you can embed from there in there, especially when it takes a second to load up. This is the frustration sometimes. So it's not giving me any embed code, but you can still embed, because if you go to file and you go to share, you can embed from there, and it will give you a choice of embed codes. So on this one, I'm just going to generate a code, hopefully, and then go back to my Sway. And then if I put embed in there, it's done it in a slightly different way to the way it normally does it. So I'm just going to check that it'll work again from there. I'm hoping it'll work on that. It should do. We'll just give it a quick check and see. It normally gives you a choice of embed codes in there, which it didn't do. Let me just go back and check it again. Oh, that's better. This is what it should have done that first time around. And again, this is the problem with the Microsoft stuff. It does some funny things sometimes. So obviously it didn't bring up that page when I just did that, and it should have done. I'm just going to copy that again, and we're going to go back to my Sway, and let's just put it into there. Okay, so we'll get rid of that one. Let's get rid of that one there, and we'll put the embed code in underneath. So the media one again, there's lots of other things you can put in. This is just a quick sort of outline of the sort of things. So that's my code. It won't do very much at the minute, but in theory, once I run it, it should bring up the PowerPoint. There we are. So the PowerPoint's there. That will run through just like before. So remember, with that one, there's not a great deal on that one. It's just a few slides, but the PowerPoint's there. And when we come to the form, if I quickly go back again to the embed, again, forms slightly different. If I go to forms and I want to embed the form, on this one, I go to send. My embed code is there. Excuse me. And I can copy that. And then once back to my Sway, I can click onto my media and I can embed again. Okay, and that will put my form in there as well. Let's just double check it has done. Oh, things always seem to take a little bit of time to load up. There we are. And again, with these, with my PowerPoint and everything else as well, obviously it's in the middle of the screen at the minute, but for each one of them, I can change the sizes. So my PowerPoint, I could make it bigger. Oops, didn't mean to click on that. I can make it bigger. Let's go off that. Similar with my forms. So with my forms, it'll stop doing that. There we are. I can make it bigger as well. So you can actually make it so it's a full screen one, or slightly bigger than the middle one, or medium like this, or a full screen one. Again, be careful, because obviously if it's on a mobile phone, it might cause a bit of an issue. But there we are. Those are embedded in there as well. And what you can then do is, when you come to play with it, obviously you can share it straight away, and you can share it to anybody. So they don't need a login to be able to access it. If you set the options that anybody with the link can access the Sway, but you can change the design as well. So if I click on this button on the left-hand side, which is design, and then click on styles, we have different styles here. So maybe I like this orange one, for example. And if I just have a little bit of a look and see how it looks now. So the mountain bit swishes across, the little side headings will swish across. And what it's done now is, because I've got the two small pictures there at the top, my PowerPoint's there in the middle, and then my form's there at the bottom. And oh, you can see the top bit's moving now as well. There we are, the picture's moving. I do like that. It's the same with the Google Forms when you slide the Google Sites, when you slide the sites up and down and they go at different speeds. It's the sort of thing you can watch for a while. And the nice thing about it is, because it is attractive like that, it's people want to look at it and want to sort of stick with it a little bit. Other things you can do, you can change the designs. You can actually ask Microsoft to remix it. Sometimes you end up with all sorts of weird things like this, which is like, what is that now? Who thinks that's a nice one? I don't know. So you ask Microsoft to remix it, and you can keep doing remixes as well. And it'll keep giving you ideas and things like that. And what you can also do is, you can have it not as a vertical one. At the minute, it's your standard sort of web page going down. But you can also, if you go to your design up here, you can have a horizontal one. And what I mean by that is, if you go to it now, it will slide from the left or from the right. That's from the right, and it'll slide this way around, which is quite nice again. I mean, I'm sort of used to the vertical ones, because I think I'm just used to vertical websites. But when you're looking at this as imagine you've got some information on here, for example, maybe you've got some text in there for the students, then you move along to maybe a video or whatever, or the cards, which I haven't shown you very well, but which will flick through the different cards. And then you move to this one, and you've got almost your full page again for your slides to look through. And then, in fact, I do quite like that actually. And then obviously your form to look through there. And obviously I could have made the video big as well, so it's full page. So it does look quite nice that way as well, actually. I do like that actually now. Obviously I can change the sizes again as I go through. Other things you can do with slides. I've not really used this one much because it is literally just one slide to another like that. Which again, look at this, having said that, it is quite visual. There are, you can flick to the sides. Obviously it's they're adding little bits every so often as well, a bit like Google do, but that's quite nice. It is quite nice going slide to slide. And this can be your website. And don't forget with this as well, one thing I haven't pointed out, if I can work out to get back to my original one before I change it all around, what you can do with this as well is you can, let's just go back and see if I can get to my original bit. Let's shut it down, there we go. Of course, you can add links to other things as well. You might have noticed that when I was doing the actual, the storyline, by the way, is the bit where we put things together. But you might have noticed in there that what we can do is we can add things to, we can upload things. So you can upload a document, for example, or images that you got on your drive. But you can also hyperlink as well. So you can put different types of text in. So it can be a full informative. You have your paragraphs on there of information. With your media side of things, images on there as well. But you can, as you're going through, if I just want to put some text on there, we'll just put a standard text thing on there. You can obviously hyperlink as well. So if I do some writing on there, and that was to a mountain website. So for example, I do not know a website on Welsh mountains, but let's say it was, I could obviously hyperlink it to, pretend that is bbc.co.uk, and it'll hyperlink as well. So you end up with something, as you can see, it didn't take long to put together. Obviously it's useful having your information there. Background, let's just look at the background. Oh, that's a nice one as a background. I'm just playing now, by the way. But it's quite a nice sort of thing to play around with. And if you have a look like this, you know, the highest mountains, you can see it actually starts to produce, I don't know what it did there, it actually starts to produce quite a nice information thing. It's the sort of thing that's attractive for people to look at. That is the frustration where something is supposed to load up there and it takes so long sometimes. And when you're demonstrating to people, sometimes you do worry it's not going to load at all. There we are, there's my PowerPoint. And obviously with the slides there, you could be going through your slides on that page. So you can see it is actually a really, really nice sort of almost like a web page with links to things as well. And if you imagine in particular, well, not just younger children, anybody would find it sort of attractive, especially if you spent a bit of time putting it together. But you think with younger learners and kids, particularly you're trying to attract to a website to look at stuff, they'll be looking at that thinking, that's quite nice, that is, you know, I'll go onto that site and I'll play. And this thing's been around for a few years and it's just not got used by people. You talk to people who use Microsoft regularly and it's like, oh, I don't know what that is. But you see how easy it is to put together. The little bit of frustration you do have when you're using it is if you come to, when you get to here, for example, I'll just click off that for a minute, like click on something else. When you get to here, you go, well, how do I put another one in? Where's the link? All you have to do is just click on the box and it appears. And there you are for your other bits to put in. So you can group things together and grid things, so you can have grids on there. I tend not to play with those. I tend to do the nice, straightforward, keeping it simple sort of thing. Audio I've not played with. That I assume that's if I've got an audio file, maybe on my Google Drive, for example, which is shared and open for anybody to listen to. I can then click onto there and put the audio into that as well. And that can be speaking through. So, oh, you can also record it on here, by the way. There we are. And again, I've not played with this, but it does get updated and it's going to record this. So here are the Welsh mountains. And they are beautiful and snowy. And I sound like I know what I'm talking about. But it's a really easy way to do something. I said, with this, we're playing around it. It's just so easy to play with. Just stop that there. Probably take a second to process. Let's just see if it does. So here are the Welsh mountains. There we are. So that's in there now. So add it to Sway. It's in there. So you've got your voiceover as well. So not only can you provide the students with the slides you want them to look at, with information on the Sway itself, web page on the Sway itself, with the video you want them to go to, with your voiceover explaining to them what you want them to do. You can then assess them using Microsoft Forms as well, or if you wish, Google Forms in there as well, because obviously you can link to Google Forms because you can hyperlink to wherever. So your assessments can be anything. could be quizzes, for example, that you want to go to, or anywhere like that. So you end up with a really, really nice interactive site. You can see it's taken us a little while to process, but it will work. It does work. I have tried that before. I just remembered, but it does take a while to process. But you end up with a really nice product which looks very. Imagine in the old days when you created a website, you end up creating a basic website if you're new to it, especially using things like Dreamweaver and that sort of thing to create it. What a nightmare it was to create it all and do it all. Now you can create something that looks like this, which is very, very professional looking. Even this one that I've just created now in a short period of time, with the videos, pictures in there, information in there, eventually a slideshow in there as well, the forms in there as well. And is it working now? It will. Go on.
So here are the Welsh mountains.
There we
They
are.
are beautiful and snowy, and I sound like a
There we are, with a nice little voiceovers as well. So it is, and obviously with this one, it put the little images side by side as well. So it is very, very easy to play with. Sharing, like I said, at the minute this is set to anybody with a link can access it. So if I send it out to people, all they need is that link, and it will just share as a web page with all that information on. And I cannot see why, other than the fact they don't know about it potentially, why teachers aren't using that to engage people. And the nice thing is, imagine you had a department of a few people, everybody did one, maybe 5 people in the department, you suddenly got 5 sways, which you can then all use and share between you. Alter a little bit, change your design, do what you want. There's other designs on there, some are a bit like pretty sort of things and things like that, but for different uses it's fine. But you can flick between them, and it's so easy. It'll change your backgrounds a little bit as well, to what the colours are. And what I mean by that is these little bits on the side there, you see on that. We're still flicking side to side, but if you let me just flick onto the vertical for a minute. So what I mean by the backgrounds is these little bits on the background. It puts this in as well automatically, so it makes that a little bit prettier as well. So it's moved these on the top, so you end up with a very, very easy website in effect, which you can add to as well. Middle audios at the bottom. Instead I can have the text on there as well, and I just love the way it just moves towards you like that. I know I'm sad, but I just love the way it just makes it feel like it's live and it's moving, it's doing something.